So here we are today in the clubhouse with Gordon Holly from Humanity Financial in Vancouver, Canada. Gordon, this is going to be an exciting discussion. I'm super glad that you're here.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, let's start with this. Today we are in October 2020, still in lockdown. And we started our journey together in July 2018 when we both started working with each other. I started Coach and Advise You. Tell us about the accounting firm back then. What did it look like back in 2018?
Yeah, so back then, I think our annual revenue was about 670,000 or thereabouts. We actually had, in the quarter that we joined you, we actually had negative profitability.
Right.
For the first time ever. We were minus 16% profitability.
Wow.
We had 8 team members, and we were primarily doing client accounting services. So, you know, it was a lot of sort of bookkeeping and controllership light. Our average client revenue was about 26,000 a year. And we were a pretty small firm. We had some specialization, but not in high value activities.
But you did have a specialization in the target market, because if I recall, it wasn't a huge amount of clients that you had, 20 something clients, but they were all pretty much the same, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. So we decided about 6 or 7 years ago to work exclusively with social purpose organizations. So charities, foundations, nonprofits, First Nations, Indigenous communities, anybody that's working on trying to make the world a better place is what we were going to do. And we're also different in that we don't provide the usual services that most CPA firms provide, audits, tax returns. We don't do any of that. We're purely focused on how to build financial capacity in social purpose organizations. So whether it's acting as an outsourced finance department or taking on the more strategic roles of a virtual CFO or virtual controller.
Yeah, and back then, which we soon changed, you're about to hear the story where it is today. Back then, you were, and you know, and we've had fun with this in the past, you were acting like your clients and not for profit.
That's absolutely right. We were providing great value to clients, but weren't earning a very good living at that point.
No. Well, luckily that we engaged, because 2 and a bit years later, it's a vastly different story. So it was a bit of a mess, but with good intention back a couple of years back. What does it look like today as we round out 2020, 2.5 years later?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, for our fiscal year ended July 31, 2020, our revenue was about a little over 1.5 million. So
double?
Yeah, more than double. And for our year end for the upcoming July 31, 2021, we're estimating that we're on track now for over 3 million.
Wow.
So it looks like it more than doubled in the first year we worked with you, and it looks like it's going to double in the second year we're working with you. So that's a pretty good change.
That's pretty good change. That'll be total 3 years roughly, and close to 5x in revenue, which is just outstanding, really outstanding. And I imagine, Gordon, that has changed, you know, yourself and Megan's life somewhat as well.
Well, the biggest change it's had for us, Rob, is that when we first started with you, you know, we were really struggling. We could barely, it was a huge discussion as to whether or not, frankly, we could afford your fees.
Yeah, sure, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right? Because we didn't have a significant cash flow. And now we're actually able to invest significant amounts in the business. So having grown the business and become more profitable, we're now able to invest further in growing the business and providing more value to our clients. So it's been a win-win-win all across the board.
You bet. And we've had a beautiful relationship, so we've both won on that as well. And you know what? It's getting over that hurdle, isn't it? It's almost like that $1 million revenue hurdle when you've got a bit of surplus cash flow and you can start to reinvest people, processes, marketing, etc. And then, bam, you follow the right path, and it just takes off like it's doing for you right now. And so let's get to the meat and potatoes. What have you done? I know it's a laundry list, and there's a lot of things you've implemented, but what would you say the big things that you've really mastered and mastering that have made the big difference to the growth?
The singular biggest thing we did, I think, is design the business that we wanted. What we realized early on, as we were working through your program, is that being conscious about designing, figuring out what kind of work life we want, what kind of clients we want to service, and what services we want to offer is probably the biggest singular change. We identified fairly early on that we wanted to work with larger clients, that we wanted to move into more valuable work. So more the virtual CFO, the virtual controller, and with larger organizations. And now basically, we've started taking on, our average fees per client have increased from about $26,000 a year to over $75,000 a year per client, which has just been incredible. So we're offering higher value services, and we're working with larger organizations that can afford the bigger bills, and to get more value.
And still the same market, or have you gone a little bit deeper into that market?
Yeah, interestingly, we've specialized even more, and what we've found is a niche within essentially the nonprofit niche, which is First Nations and Indigenous organizations. We started small. We sort of got one client, and they referred us to the next client, and they referred us to the next client. And now over 80% of our work is with Indigenous organizations and First Nations. And they're great clients, really appreciative. It's just been a wonderful shift for our business to a business that we were consciously designing. We knew we wanted to get larger clients. We knew we wanted to offer higher value services.
What are some of the other things you designed at the outset? Because that's one of the first exercises we do, no matter, how big or small you are or what you've done, development path, it is taking it back to grassroots and saying, okay, well, what do you want this business to look like? So what were some of the other criteria that you set with Megan and yourself to, these are the rules of business going forward?
We weren't going to take on any clients with under $1 million in revenue.
Okay.
And we were going to expand initially we were saying we'd take clients up to 5 million. Well, now we're taking clients up to 50 million. So we significantly increased the size of the client we wanted to work with. And as you say, we increased the value of the services we were offering, both in our eyes and in our client's eyes, right? So we weren't talking about the client accounting services anymore. Now we're talking about much higher value services with the virtual CFO and the virtual controller.
And all still from Vancouver. There's no other locations, if I recall.
No, it's all still from Vancouver, and it's been interesting. We weren't sure when we started that we would be able to do this remotely, but kind of COVID's really kicked everybody into being able to work remotely, which has just been phenomenal. We'll still go out to clients periodically, and hopefully as COVID gets better, we'll be able to do it more, mostly just to build the relationship and build trust. But most of the work we're able to do, well, all of the work now we're able to do from our offices in Vancouver. And so I'm not sure we're going to need more offices.
No. And the clients, because the target market is all over Canada, you can deal with them wherever they are.
Absolutely. We've got clients now in just about every province in the country.
Very cool. Hey, can you just unpack a bit, Gordon? What are you doing for 75 grand clients? What are some of the services you're providing?
Yeah, so great question. With these larger clients, we have the opportunity to sit down and get some real clarity about what they're trying to achieve. And so it's, when you're working with for-profit clients, it's really easy. Well, not really easy, but there's a model for it. You're working on building their profitability, building their cash flow, building the value of their company, and ensuring wealth accumulation and good retirement. With nonprofit organizations, it's a whole different thing, but they're still very clear about what goals they're trying to meet. And so for us, our services have become much more about goal achievement. Really getting clear with the client what their goals are, what their long-term goals are for their organization, for the communities they serve, and then getting really clear about how we can help them do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, for us, it's become way less about accounting per se and way more about goal achievement. What are your goals as an organization? How can we help get you there? So we're moving much more into the sort of business advisory and consulting work kind of side, and moving away from the sort of bookkeeping and accounting and client accounting services.
And of course, now we're living by something that I talk about all the time, which is I believe the role of the trusted advisor, the accounting firm, is that all clients are buying all services that they need that helps them achieve their goals. That's right. To me, that's your role, and that's what you're doing. Talk to us about your time in the business previously versus now. What are some of the things you're doing? What were you doing? What are you doing now?
Yeah, interestingly, when we first started, we had excess capacity. I was doing a fair bit of marketing, a fair bit of getting out and networking and trying to build demand for our services. Interestingly, since then, we've been taking on so many new clients and such large clients, I've become a bit overwhelmed with the volume of work. And so now I haven't done any marketing for 6 months and the work's just rolling in. So that was, it was partly luck and partly good planning. But our goal now, and again, you reminded of us in our session today, we've really got to move back to the model where we're working on the business more and in the business less. Because right now we're the bottleneck. Meg and I are the bottlenecks. And so we're following your advice and going to be working really hard to make that happen.
Yeah, great. Let's talk about the team. Where are the team located and what's the team split?
Yeah, so we've got 5 offshore team members. We've got 2 in India and 3 in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And they look after most of the client accounting services stuff. So even though our hourly rates on those aren't the highest, they're still quite profitable because we're using the outsourced teams. The rest of our people here are generally CPAs. So we've got a total team of about 20. So we've got I think about 15 CPAs now on board, and they don't do any client accounting. They're really doing mostly consulting and client relationship management. So they're making sure that the clients are getting what they need and actually doing the consulting work.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now I want to show something, which is the front page of your website, because I think this is awesome, and I want you to talk to this, Gordon. You, on the front page of your website, so go to humanityfinancial.ca, you have decided that this statement effectively will define you, which is Canada's leading CPA and financial capacity building firm for the social purpose sector. Talk about that, because that's an awesome statement. We are number one and the rest can catch up, essentially, or not, right? Where did that come from? How long's it been front and center?
Yeah, so we redid our website, I think in January of this year, I think is when we rolled it out. And this is absolutely true, and we stand behind it 100%. To the best of our knowledge, there is not another CPA firm in Canada that has the knowledge and experience that we have in serving the social profit sector, and specifically financial capacity building in the social profit sector. The nonprofit sector or the social profit sector is a much different animal than the for-profit sector, and most firms don't go to the level of specialization where that's all they do. Well, guess what? It's all we do, and we're very good at it. So it's really driven, I mean, it drives up our confidence, it drives up our credibility, everything, and it also forces us to
live up to it.
well, absolutely,
Yeah,
to do everything we can. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, Gordon. Most accountants aren't bold enough to state that, and Canadians are much, even somewhat more reserved than others as well. So to put it out there and say, listen, we're number one here, I think is awesome. And that's probably, you've had a lot of referrals this year, you're saying today, from existing clients, but you put it out there, you state it, and you make it happen. Like, for example, and it's called the brand promise, right? My brand promise to the accounting profession is, when we directly coach you, we'll help you make more than $1 million profit per partner while you work less than 500 client delivery hours. That's it. So, and you're right, Gordon, it forces you to say, am I doing that with the work I do? Are we moving towards that? Are we inching towards that every single time? And so I love it. I love the fact that you just hung it out there and said that's, rather than being reserved about it.
Well, it's interesting, when you've got something that you're actually expert in and you actually are the best in the country, why wouldn't you say so?
Exactly.
Right? And I think that's what many CPA firms struggle with, is they never develop that level of specialization and expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they're too general. They're generalists all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one of the huge benefits of specialization.
You bet. And you had it before we started working together, but now you've gone deep into it, and it's growing like weeds. Hey, can you put some numbers on pre-COVID to now? So let's go March to now. What's the monthly revenue grown by, approximate percentage?
Well, it's been growing at, I don't know percentage, but on average, it's been growing between 100 and 150,000 a quarter.
A quarter. So call it 3 quarters, 500,000, a lot. The growth rate is a lot at that pace. Yeah, at that pace. Awesome. So what does the future look like, Gordon? What's the plan here?
Yeah, so we're just trying to map that out. We've just done some market research, and the results of the market research has come back and said basically our opportunities for growth are almost limitless.
Wow.
The barriers to our growth won't be on the getting client side. It'll be on the being able to scale quickly enough to deal with demand.
Wow.
So we're just now working with our leadership team and putting a plan in place to scale as quickly as we can. And that's going to be interesting. Interestingly, the CPA profession doesn't train people to do what we do. So we really need to become a training organization. And so now we need to build out the Humanity University, mm-hmm. so that we can onboard people quickly and efficiently and get them up to speed servicing our clients as quickly as possible.
But Gordon, go back to the rules, right? And go back to the business by design that we did a couple of years ago. What were some of the numbers you put on there that you wanted to achieve? Like, we've got a limitless opportunity, but that doesn't mean we should pursue it, right? All of it. Yep. So what are you guys looking for?
Yeah, so well, we said, I think we had a 10-year goal of being a $10 million business. Mm-hmm. And our goal was to get to 50% profitability. And our hope was to actually get down to we also became a certified B Corp in the last year, which means we also try and provide, in addition to building shareholder profit, we also try and provide great careers for our team members, try and provide really good value for our clients, try and have a light footprint in the environment. And so one of the goals that we set is to actually get down to a 25-hour work week with mm-hmm. our team over the next 10 years. So I think some pretty big goals, and so far we seem to be going on a pretty good trajectory.
Well, at the growth rate you're on, if we can maintain that, you should be at 10 mil in about 3 to 4 years on that sort of growth rate.
It's going to be a little quicker than we thought. And
Yeah.
what we're seeing, Rob, is that the type of work we're taking on now is significantly more profitable than the type of work we've done in the past.
Yeah.
And that just makes all the difference in the world.
Well, man, hats off to you. It's a great journey. Look, many firms, many partners of firms or senior managers or whoever will be looking at this, maybe scratching their head or wondering, where do I start? So what would you say to them, no matter where they're at, no matter what size they are, what would you say to a firm who's just starting their journey like you were a couple of years ago?
Well, I think there are a few aspects of so I'm assuming the first step is you join Rob Nixon's program at Profitable Partners.
There you
go. But also to take it seriously. Like, this is where it's really been valuable for us. Joining the program, there's a level of accountability because we're setting quarterly goals and we're going to show up in the meetings and holy cow, we better have met our goals. So whether that's with respect to the projects we're taking on or whether it's our financial results. And so it's forced us to take the time that we need to work on the business and make it a priority. So, no excuses about being too busy with client work. We still need to make the time to be working on the business and designing the business if we're going to grow the kind of business that we want. So having that accountability is incredible. And what I've found particularly helpful is listening to the organizations. You work with a lot of accounting firms. Some of them are making the changes necessary to see results in their businesses. We come to the sessions, we get inspired by those businesses. These are guys that are actually making changes and building the businesses they want. And we also see a number of accounting firms that are struggling with making the changes. Well, guess what? We get inspired by that as well, because I know I don't want to be one of those firms.
I love it. I love it.
Right? So I think just coming to the sections has also been just really inspiring. Every time we see the firms, we're seeing those that are winning and what they're doing to win, and we're seeing those that are struggling. And mostly they're just not putting in the effort to make the real changes.
Yeah,
so I think
it's so true. If you want to get fit, you want to be healthy, then you've got to make some changes. And as you know, Gordon, because there's no let up, it's accountable. It's called boardroom, so we treat it like a board of directors. You have to implement, unless you're just wasting your time and money otherwise. And you're a testament to it. Far out. You implement, you get the results, and we have a better life. It's as simple as that, right? Yeah, it's hard work, but it's simple.
It's really hard work, but it's amazing what a difference it is. We feel much more confident making the changes because we see other firms doing it, and we're listening to you and learning what's been effective in other firms. You've got such a varied experience working with other accounting firms. You really give us a framework that we can use to build the firm.
Yeah.
Right. And every time we're making business decisions, it's now informed by all of the sessions of yours that we've attended.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it much easier to make those decisions with confidence.
You bet. Well, Gordon, one day, not too sure when, we will be able to have a glass of wine together and shake hands and have a hug. So who knows when that's going to be. And one day you'll get your cruise that we had booked to come to Australia and get that back on track. But for now, so appreciate you, so appreciate the journey that you've done. You just implement, you get things done. Every quarter you turn up with Megan, with your team, and you say, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, and this is what we've done results-wise, and go, awesome. Just keep doing that, man. It's so cool. And look out, 10 mil, here we come.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we couldn't have done it without you, Rob. So thanks a lot for all your help. Really,
Thanks,
really
Gordon.
appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye now.